This card, it's number 13, so we know that it's number 4. This is the year of number 4. This is the year of the Emperor. It is the year of transformation. It is the year, and this is what is hidden from us. This is what is hidden from us. So we get our second number 4 of the day. So the 4s are about our roots. Remember, the 4s are about where we come from. The 4th house in astrology is is our family, is our home, is our heritage, is our DNA, is what's underground. Literally, we know that number 4s, yes, they talk about structures and they talk about what we see now, like the Emperor talks about very clearly. What does your life look like now? But we also know that the number 4 talks about, but where do we come from? Where do we return to? How do we shift this? How do we engage with these foundations, these structures that we engage with that? And today it is about having a really clear connection to our emotional selves, to our memories. We've got to remember the good, we've got to remember the happy, we've got to remember the joy, we've got to remember the love, we've got to remember the things that we've actually had and held and experienced. Hello my lovelies, welcome to Key Wisdom Tarot. My name is Ruth, I'm your Reiki Master and Tarot Reader, and this, my darlings, is our daily pulse for Wednesday the 15th of April. So we are going to start with the card at the base of our reading, which is the 6 of Cups, and then we will move on to our key message, and what's facing us today, what's hidden from us today, and what is our blessing. Where can we find a blessing today? So we'll start with the 6 of Cups, and we've seen this card this week, the back end of last week, and we know that number 6 is linked to the lovers. It's also linked to our third eye chakra, so it's about our perception center, our consciousness and our wisdom, the power of our mind, and the power of our mind to connect, in this instance, with our emotional self, with our memories, with our intuition, with our feelings, with our divine feminine. This is the area that we're invited to, as we were on, I think it was Saturday, we're invited to remember all the good things with this energy. We're invited to remember all the experiences, the happy and joyful and pleasurable experiences. We're invited to remember those things today. We have access to them, and this is a card of nostalgia, with it being the 6 of Cups. It's a card linked to our emotional selves, and it's a card of appreciation. Number 6 is a number of appreciation. It's a number of beauty on the tree of life, and that's why we talk about it as being the number of appreciation, the number of accepting something, the number of recognizing the value and the worth of something. And this is something that we must keep in mind as we look at this message today. So we start with our key message, which is the King of Swords. So we know that sword energy is strictly about the mind. It's strictly about our perception. It's about our awareness, our logic ability, our how we perceive things, also how we communicate with ourselves, so what we know, what we allow ourselves to know in our conscious minds, but also how we communicate with other people as well. With the King of Swords, remember, with all the kings, the knights, the queens, etc., they're all about our maturity within certain aspects of our reality, within engaging with them and responding to them. And in this instance, with it being the king, we are mature at this point. We're mature enough to be able to act. We are mature enough to be able to act on what we know, on what we understand, on our clarity, on our perception. This is having clarity. This is having mental clarity. This is being clear in the direction that we're going in the things that we need to say, in the things that we need to express, in the things that we need to realize, in the things that we need to discuss, in the things that we need to communicate. This is showing an ownership, a confidence, a security in how you are able to communicate. And this is something that I really need right now in this reading, as we turn to the message of what is facing us today. Now, I saw this card when I obviously turned it over. I always look at this card, and the cards that you see, I see before we turn the camera on, and the rest I don't see. And I saw this card, and it immediately took me back to yesterday. So I'm filming this it is actually Wednesday morning when I film this, and it took me back to Tuesday, when I was feeling very tired yesterday. And I was thinking about this energy in transformation because I understand how it feels. I know, and I was saying, you know, I know that this is death that I'm feeling right now. And that might sound quite a sort of strange or maybe scary thing to say to you guys right now, out loud. But that is really how I view death, and how we view death in the tarot. This is really a card of transformation, and to transform takes a huge amount of energy. And as we are within us, we're beginning a new cycle. We know that when we begin a new cycle, like which we are, and beginning to bring in new energy, like we talked about yesterday with the Ace of Cups, but what that means is that we're also releasing, we're letting go of things in order that we now move forward and transform. And this is really the energy of death. This is really, and as I always say to you, I work with energies, the physical, you know, how it physically feels, the physical manifestation of energies, being a Reiki master. And this is it's an energy that really does feel you're tired, you know, like the 10 of wands, you know, you're at the end of one sort of path and you're going on to the new, so you're sort of looking forward, but it's tiring, it's exhausting. And this was the sort of energy that I was feeling yesterday. And I always say to you guys, I'm one step ahead of you when it comes to these things. So we see this card, it's number 13. So we know that it's number 4. This is the year of number 4. This is the year of the Emperor. It is the year of transformation. It is the year of death. We know that we're not looking at this in a sort of in a literal sense, in a sort of literal sense. This is in a spiritual sense, in a karmic sense. In an energetic sense, and this is all the things that we go through, we experience. These are all experiences that we have, and we go on to number 14. We go on to temperance, I think it is number 14. So we move with this energy here of number 4. So we know that that's about the structures and our foundations, but we know that number 1 is about a new beginning, and we know that number 3 is about expansion, don't we? We know that number 3 is about the beginning. It is about accessing your power center, accessing our ability to manifest, accessing our ability to move further and to go further. So this is why we know that this is the beginning of a new, with Death card, it's the beginning of a new way forward, a new information, new experiences, transforming. And we're stuck with the emotional energy as well, again. So again, we're being asked and called to notice our emotional self. You know, this is Scorpio's energy. This is all about the underworld. It's all about our emotional selves, our intuitive selves. And so what we're facing today is this, we're being confronted with the energy of transformation. And that is something I said yesterday when we saw the Hanged Man. You know, the Hanged Man is number 12. This is number 13, is the Death card. And so we know that we're moving forward. These are the type of energies now that we're confronting, because we are changing. We have been looking at how we're applying our energy, changing what we're doing, responding to what we're feeling. And this is helping us to feel more, yes, secure, yes, stronger, but it's also helping us to really change. And I said that last week. I said, I don't think we realize, you know, the things that we're doing, they really are helping us to change. They really are helping us to transform. And that is the message that we see. We see this energy of transformation coming through for us today. And this is what is hidden from us. This is what is hidden from us. So we get our second number 4 of the day. So we get the Death card, which is number 4, number 13, and we get another Death card, another number 4 card, which is the Emperor. Again, the 4s are about our roots. Remember, the 4s are about where we come from. The 4s are about it. The 4th house in astrology is is our family, is our home, is our heritage, is our DNA, is what's underground. Literally, that's what it relates to, the 4th house in astrology. And so this is why we know that number 4s, yes, they talk about structures, and they talk about what we see now. So what's manifested, what does your life look like now? Like the Emperor talks about very clearly, what does your life look like now? You know, where are we now? How are we sustaining this? How are we upholding this? We know that the Emperor talks about that. This number 4 talks about that. But we also know that the number 4 talks about, but where do we come from? Where do we return to? How do we shift this? How do we engage with these foundations, these structures that we have? How do we engage with the heritage and where we're coming from? How do we engage with that? And today it is about having a really clear connection to our emotional selves, to our memories. We've got to remember the good, we've got to remember the happy, we've got to remember the joy, we've got to remember the love, we've got to remember the things that we've actually had and held and experienced, because that's the thing that can help us to feel help in that continuing, as we continue to walk on this path where we're going through, as we continue to confront these things. These are the type of memories, these are the type of, being able to access that, being able to gain strength from that, recognizing that that's real, recognizing that is a part of you, recognizing that hasn't disappeared from you. You still carry that with you in your cups, in your 6 cups, in your chakra, in your energy body. You still carry those memories with you. So respond to them, look at them, engage with them, because they are the things that are helping to strengthen you. Where you come from. Remember, I always say about the Emperor, he knows where he comes from. He's number 4, so he knows where he comes from. He lives in this world. He knows where he comes from, and it's that connection between the two. It's understanding where I come from. It's understanding why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, why I'm doing the things that I'm doing, why I'm saying the things that I'm saying, why I'm having these moments of these breakthroughs, why these things are happening to me, how I'm responding to these things. It's understanding that helps us to continue to transform. It's difficult and challenging, obviously, to see. Oh, I'm so glad to see this. Look what we get. We get the 2 of Cups. I'm so happy to see this card. It's difficult and challenging to see the Death card, especially, in this time, in Corona, the year of Corona, yes, the year of the Emperor, but the year of Corona as well. And again, interesting, that we've got the number 4. It's very interesting. And this is the type of stuff that I shudder at, really, because it's hard to get people to see past the word or the religious symbolism or the cultural imagery and ideologies that sort of permeate the tarot, because they are just it's energy. And as men, as people, we have to try to communicate that energy in ways that people can understand, in ways that everyone who maybe can't experience the fullness of this energy of death can have an instant understanding of what this energy fully represents. And that's the work that's the disconnect that can happen with tarot sometimes. The disconnect comes because we see the word death, we see the Grim Reaper, and there are so many connections that we have culturally, religious, historically. There are so many connections that we have as individuals, but also, as I said, on a cultural level and also on a collective consciousness level. There are so many connections that we have that we can instantly, you understand what you understand, regardless of what this energy, the fullness of this energy represents within the tarot. And that's what's really challenging to be a tarot reader, especially in times like this, because you still, I want you to always notice your responses. I want you to notice how you respond to all of the energies that we see, all of the synchronicities that you experience, all of the things that you experience mindfully in the moments that you have. I want you to be responsive to those and reactive to those and engage with those. And like the Emperor, I want you to try to reflect, consider, think over. That's what meditation means. I want you to reflect on where they come from. And that's what the Emperor does. Where do they come from? Why is my response that way? Why can I look at that? Can I see that? Can I spend some time focusing on that, on what I hold on? Because ultimately, let's face it, there's how many cards in the tarot, but eventually we're going to pick out the death card, you might say. And for me personally, as I said, this was something that I was meditating with this energy yesterday, from a point of transformation, from a point of meditation, from a point of, the physical experience, working with that energy. I was working with this energy yesterday, and people might see that as morbid, but it isn't morbid, because it's not about that word on the card. The word is significant, but the word is about connecting to everyone else's understanding. It's not about connecting to my understanding, if that makes sense. I mean, it is, but but it's the start. It's like the headline. Two of Cups is the headline, Emperor's the headline. That's the title of the story. There's so much more to each experience of death, of the King of Swords, of the Emperor. There's so much more to all of those experiences. So we talk about the blessing of the soulmate card here with the Two of Cups. And shorthand, the soulmate card, Two of Cups, because it is, duality. It's balance with number two. It's commitment with number two. It's joy and pleasure with number two. And so we know that, and it's emotional, so we know that it's about those feelings and those two things being balanced on both sides. So this is why we talk about this card as being the soulmate card, but it's so much more than that. This is you facing yourself. This is you engaging with your emotional self. This is you engaging with your experiences. This is you engaging with your memories. This is you doing all of that, having that conversation with yourself. This is you having that compassion for yourself. This is you being honest with yourself. This is you experiencing yourself, embodying yourself. This is you doing so much more than being in love with somebody else. Or I mean, and yeah, it might mean that for you, and beautiful if it isn't for you, etc. But this is, again, one of the limited, in a way that the tarot is limited. It's like people see the Lovers card and think ultimately, oh my God, this means I'm going to meet someone and fall in love with them. No, it doesn't. I mean, it can, but it's not. And it's the same with the Death card. It's the same with the Devil. It's the same with the Tower. It's the same with all of these energies. We sort of have our own, and so we should, perspective or idea about a card. Reaction to a card, and so we should. That's mindfulness. That's accepting. But then remember what we do next, okay? We meditate. So meditate is about reflection. Meditate is, well, where do these come from? Four of Swords, the meditation card, the Emperor. This is about where do we come from? This is what gives us our strength to understand those things. And so today we may have some, we're thinking back, we're looking back, we're committing to ourselves. We're not avoiding confronting some of the things that are challenging and difficult. It doesn't make it. I mean, listen, understanding, tarot, or being a Reiki master, or, the things that I do, meditating, etc. It doesn't make it any easier necessarily, like to sort of to live through 2020. People are dying, and it's tragic, and there's a whole other side of things because of the work that I do as well, where I maybe feel a huge amount of energy from not just the people that I read for here, but all sorts of people from all over the world that are actually in real significant health crises, and going through this process of transformation, going through this process of death, this actual physical and spiritual process. That is a lot to handle for anyone. And the only difference, the only way that it's easier maybe for me, is that this is what I do. I look at it I confront it, I engage with it, I ask myself how I feel, I count my blessings, I sleep, I, watch the repair shop and Gardener's World, and I speak to people and I have conversations and I walk my dog and I cry if I need to. I haven't cried for a while actually, which has been quite good. But I confront myself. I look at it and I live with it and I engage with it. And this is what a blessing is. It's like everything that we do is self-serving. I'll say that again. Everything that we do is self-serving. Now that doesn't mean that, so that means that everyone, so if you're a doctor, you're serving yourself. If you're a nurse, you're serving yourself. If you're a healer, you're serving yourself. If you're whatever it is you're doing, if you're a charity worker, you're serving yourself. And it doesn't mean that you're not also serving your patients and your loved ones and the community. Of course, you may also be serving them. But ultimately, in everything that you do, you're serving yourself. And this is why. Because in every action that you take, every time you put your energy, your effort towards something, you learn something about yourself. You learn something about who you are. You learn something about your boundaries. You learn something about your compassion. You learn something about your woundings. You learn something about the pain that you carry. You learn something about love, about joy, about appreciation, about gratitude in everything that you do, every single day. And so we talk about this card as being the soulmate card. This is a card of ultimate selfishness, and long may it continue. Praise hallelujah. You see, again, that word selfishness, we have attachments to it. We think it means something else. Where do those ideas come from? Why is it bad to be selfish? To be committed to yourself, to be committed to your reality, because that's what you do anyway. Just know it. Know it. That in everything that you do, you learn, and if you commit to yourself, if you commit to engaging with, how am I responding? How does this make me feel? What does this make me think? How else does this make me want to help people? Because what you learned is that the help is the altruism, the help is the compassion, the help is how you connect, the help is how you reveal, the help is how you remember. This is what we're engaging with today. This is the blessing of today. The blessing is to know that whatever we're confronting, whatever we're looking at, whatever we're feeling and remembering, and we're trying to remember the good, we're trying to remember the love, we're trying to remember the joy. We know where we're coming from and we know where we are. But we engage, we are clear, we communicate, we increase our awareness, we talk to ourselves, we meditate, we feel, we think, and we love. And this is how we love, this is how we transform, because we allow ourselves to engage, we allow ourselves to feel, we allow ourselves to respond, to react to what we're feeling. This helps us to transform. This helps us to see the real blessing in what we are currently facing. Yes, there are blessings here. Yes, there are. And today is for you to notice them. For today is for you to respond to them. Today is for you to allow these blessings to help you to transform your perspective and your point of view. Okay, my darlings, I hope you like that reading. I hope you have a lovely day. I hope it is blessed for you, because we see that energy here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being with me. Have a wonderful Wednesday, my darlings. Stay safe, and I will see you all again tomorrow with your brand new reading. And all the messages, all the daily pulses are in their own playlist, so you can watch them all back as well. Okay, my darlings, have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.